So this is happy hour. 2 drinks for the price of 1. People laughing and having fun. What a great place to be.
Hi, Jack fans. Jed Cake here to welcome you to the very best of Jack D's Happy Hour and to introduce you to AFF. Automatic Fast Forward is a system unique to this video, which means that your VCR automatically detects any dull bits and fast forwards through them to enhance your viewing experience. Not a real welder. Here's Jack.
Leonardo DiCaprio is accusing his financial advisor of swindling him out of £1 million. I know how he feels, because I paid £8.50 to see the beach. Oh, that's great, that is. That's exactly what I had in mind. Thanks. Don't know if you've seen that film, The Beach, based on the experience of a backpacker who discovers a backpacking paradise. And then, well, I won't spoil the film for you. Leonardo DiCaprio has done that. Backpackers are smug bastards, aren't they? You know, I overheard some real backpackers talking about going to see the film, but of course they weren't going to the local cinema because it's become too commercial and full of, you know, cinema goers who've really ruined it, and how they're going to hitchhike to this unspoilt multiplex in the middle of nowhere where they sell a local dish called popcorn, which you must eat with a traditional drink called Kia Ora. You know, what is so clever about backpacking? So you travel by bus through Ying Tang Ping Pong with a load of your smelly friends. So what? Yeah? Hundreds of people regularly take the night bus to Peckham. They don't feel the need to bore the arse off everyone they meet. You really have got to go. It's so unspoiled. Yeah, like my evening before you cornered me. You stinking gimp. Well, you have to go now because in 5 years' time it'll be developed with, you know, smart hotels and private beaches and restaurants. Yes. I can wait. But it's true that travel broadens the mind, but that just means that if you are a bore, it makes you a bigger bore. And that's the trouble with backpackers. They always do come back. Didn't you notice when you said you were going away for a year, no one tried to stop you? Backpackers always boast that they travel light, but they don't. Backpackers have a backpack. It's a suitcase on straps. And you're not meant to wear luggage. Lashing a wardrobe to your shoulders and cramming money down your Y-fronts doesn't make you an adventurer. It just means you knock people flying when you turn around on the tube. And spread crabs every time you buy something. No, when I was 18, I read the Rough Guide travel book, and it inspired me. It inspired me not to go traveling until I could afford to do it in style. I don't need a guidebook that tells me where to get my plimsolls mended. Where to buy juggling equipment in Burma. I don't want a guidebook like that. I'm a grown-up. I don't need directions to the hair-beading district. And don't let backpackers tell you that they got a real taste for a country by working there, because they didn't. I mean, they may have been to Goa and poured a few pints of Foster's in Ranjit Murphy's old Irish beach pub. But what they didn't do was spend 18 hours a day stitching up trainers for 2p a week. Nor did they have to wander around Bangkok selling their ass to fat sex tourists. Because I did. Let me tell you, I was pretty pissed off when I found out the hotel did accept Switch. At the moment, it seems to be a national pastime to complain about the long waits for treatment on the NHS. You know, I feel I should be Minister for Health. I'd go on telly and say, time is a great healer. What's your problem? It's free, isn't it? No one said anything about immediate. People moan, you know, we had to wait half an hour for the ambulance. Yes, because you live half an hour from the hospital. If you'd like to get to hospital quicker, move nearer. No. You know, in all seriousness, though, you know, the NHS is plagued by lack of resources and decrepit buildings and demoralized staff who are often dangerously exhausted and overstretched, which is why I go private. You know, the only snag with that is so expensive. I'm actually hoping to become ill enough to break even. Obviously, I don't want to get so ill that I make a huge profit. You know. I'd be greedy. You know, casualty is by definition a horrible place to be, and it is a real eye-opener. Well, it was for me. It's a mishap with a super glue. It's just... Even worse than being stuck in the waiting room is other people trying to bolster your spirits while you're waiting. Yeah, cheer up, it might never happen. I think it's fairly apparent from the chisel sticking out of my knee that it actually has happened. That's your clue right there, the chisel in my knee. That and my now incomplete art and craft tool set. There's now a big push to take pressure off the NHS by suggesting we go to our pharmacist instead of the doctor. Why? Because he wears a white coat. So does the ice cream man. Call me picky, but I don't wish to seek medical advice from the chemist. Someone who processes holiday snaps for a living. Here's a little tip for you, a little fashion note about visiting casualty. The grubby anorak over your pajamas idea is definitely out. Yeah, in fact, I'd be in favor of special casualty wards just for ugly people. Because there are a lot of ugly people in casualty, aren't there? Being in casualty is traumatic enough without being surrounded by human gargoyles bemoaning some imagined ailment, like a massive heart attack. Everyone moans about casualty because they have to wait to be treated, but subconsciously, they want to be kept waiting. No one wants to say, oh, I cut my hand. I had to go to hospital for 4 minutes. Anyway, if you've had an accident, what's your hurry? You can't do anything else. Medical treatment is the next thing on your to-do list. And subconsciously, people actually long to have something wrong with them. Do you know what? 3 hours I was kept waiting and they sent me home. Yeah? One slight quirk of hospital procedure is if you have nothing wrong with you, you do get told to piss off. So don't complain about waiting, because the truth is, if you were an emergency, you would have been seen to immediately. But you're not an emergency if you've stepped on a rusty nail. You're not even ill. What you are is a bloody nuisance. You know what hospitals ought to do? Hospitals should set up a priority chart where your injury is graded for stupidity. What happened to you? Oh, knocked off my ladder. Sir, that's not your fault. We'll see you straight away. Next, I walked into a ladder and a bloke fell on my head. Right, well, that's pretty stupid. You'll have a 2-hour wait. Next. So you fell backwards onto a Hoover nozzle whilst getting undressed. I'm afraid you're in for quite a wait, Mr. Portillo. So, Tony Blair's made a decision that he isn't going to take paternity leave. Instead, he's going to scale down his hours and go into holiday mode. Isn't that how he got her up the duff in the first place? With all due respect. Holiday mode, isn't it? I mean, is that wise? You're the Prime Minister. We need you. How's that going to sound on the news? Crisis in Iraq. President Clinton on Air Force One. Israel on 24-hour alert. Blair on log flume at Wally's Waterworld. It's not going to help his new child. You know, in 15 years' time, there'll be an episode of Jerry Springer entitled, My Dad Was a World Leader and Blew It. Men are no good at looking after small children. I mean, we are small children. Too easily distracted. Half an hour is enough, you know. After that, we're on the PlayStation, you know, trying to get Lara Croft's T-shirt off. While the kids are in the kitchen microwaving a car battery. No, I'm not saying it's not important. You know, you have to bond with baby. That's what health visitors say, isn't it? How's baby? Why do they talk like that? It's like talking to Tonto. How's baby? Baby fine. How? Visitor. She says breast milk is best for baby. Sorry, can I just stop you there? That's not what we've called him. We've given him a proper name. I don't call you spinster. You know, a lot has been made of the fact that the Prime Minister of Finland took paternity leave. So what? So he had to cancel a high-powered lunch with Santa Claus. Anyway, it wasn't really paternity leave. They just told him to take the night off, and being Finland, that took 3 months. So I thought it must be hard raising children in the Arctic winter. Is your baby sleeping through yet? Nah, not really. He always wakes up wanting milk in February. Yeah, certain people who just can't take that kind of time off. Air traffic control, you know, vital work. They couldn't take 3 months off. If just one of those guys so much as swivels round in his chair to get his coffee, you know, bang! Extended news night. You know, the EU recommend 13 weeks off. That means if you're a dad from Middlesbrough, you could miss your GCSEs. See, the point is, if you can take 3 months off work without it being a problem, that's not a good thing. It means your job is pointless. I mean, ask yourself the question. You take 13 weeks off and come back to work. No one knows you've been gone. And the only thing that's changed is there are 3 post-it notes on your computer screen. 2 of which are from your wife, and the 3rd says, who sits here? Go ahead, take time off, lying around in your jogging pants. Just sit at the table with your mouth open. Getting round to all those little jobs you meant to do. Like putting on a 1.5 stones. Taking the last of your wedding presents to the dump. Yeah, bye-bye, Breville Sprout Shaver. Anyway, I digress. We all know the real reason Tony Blair isn't taking full leave is that John Prescott would be left in charge. Now, nothing against his politics, but let's face it, well, he's hardly one of us, is he? I do think if someone is going to run the country, albeit temporarily, they should have English as a first language. Not being a snob, but do we really want the country run from a pigeon loft in Hull?
Glossy, sharp and polished. And that's just my teeth. I've got a great set, ladies and gentlemen. But I can remember when Jack hardly had one at all. Now here's something you haven't seen before. And don't say, Jed being funny.
Valentine's Day soon, and Yes, I can be ruthless when I have to be. Valentine's Day is, of course, you know, the day when you send anonymous proclamations of love in the post, and this is romantic. Any other day of the year, it's called stalking. The most popular gift for Valentine's Day, apart from flowers, is milk tray. Now, I don't accept that romance has to be sweet. Why not savory? Say it with crisps. That's what I prefer. That or a nice scrag end of lamb. You could get sent a tasty anonymous cheese flan. Roses are red, violets are blue. I saw these mini chicken Kievs and thought of you. Flowers. The most embarrassing thing about ordering flowers is having to read your message over the phone. And they always get it wrong anyway. Last Valentine's, I got in. My wife said, guess what? I have a secret admiral. He wants me to be his valet. My theory is that most Valentine's presents are bought at garages. And, well, thank heaven that petrol stations remember to stock up on cards and last-minute gifts. Because, you know, otherwise there'd be women everywhere being given egg and cress sandwiches and a copy of Razzle. Now, don't get me wrong, I am romantic. I just don't see the point in forking out money when the chances are you're going to get laid anyway. I'm sorry, I'm not one of these saddos who comes cringing through the front door with a bunch of wilting tulips. Here you are. Any chance of sex, please? And it's an insult. You may as well walk in with your wallet in your hand. How much for hand relief, then? No, I'm being a spoil sport, actually. Valentine's, of course, is a time to send that card or phone the person you love and say the kind of things that you might not say the rest of the year. What are you wearing? Oh, sounds good to me. Getting hot. Anyway, Mum, is Dad in? Well, actually, year 2000 is leap year. People who have their birthday on February the 29th are annoying, aren't they? Ask me how old I am. How old are you? I'm 8 years old. Yes, you are. If you think that's funny, you are. Why do we have to have an extra day in February of all months? Huh? It's cold, dark, lonely and bleak, and that's just Valentine's Day. The truth is, the reason we have to suffer this added day of bleakness is because some Roman nonce cocked up the calendar, put it all together like a flat pack and realised that he had this one day left over. There you are, finished. All the days in? Yeah. Let's change it this year. Let's not have February the 29th. Let's have July the 32nd. So, mind you, an extra day in July would ruin that beautiful poem, wouldn't it? 30 days hath September, April, June and November. February has 28 alone. All the rest have 31, except leap year. And that's the time when February's days are 29. Isn't that a beautiful poem? To be honest, if I'd commissioned that, I'd be wanting a little word with the poet. You see, what you've done there is you've taken all the information I wanted in the poem and just copied it out. That's not poetry, that's just copying it out. I'm being glib, but there is a rumour of a leap year bug that may be as serious as the millennium bug. However will we cope? You know, there was one family who moved to the north of Scotland because they feared that come the millennium there would be a total collapse of civilised life. I'll run that past you again. They moved to Scotland because they thought there would be a collapse of civilised life. And now they've said they're not going to return until April just in case. Yeah, just in case people haven't yet forgotten that they're the stupid family. Of course, you know, on February 29th, women are allowed to propose to men. And, you know, in terms of pure hedonistic craziness, well, it's right up there with Pancake Day, isn't it? It's a carnival atmosphere, don't you think? You know, all police leave is cancelled because, well, it's just so crazy. It's such a mad day. I mean, come on, can we do better than that? This is February the 29th. I propose you can drink and drive. Come on, it's a carnival. If you don't want to take the risk, just stay in. It's February the 29th, for goodness sake. It's topsy-turvy world. Drive at 90 miles an hour the wrong side down the road, pissed out of your head. Enjoy. And the next day, everything goes back to normal. Except in Newcastle, of course. The Home Secretary, Jack Straw, wants pubs to be able to open 24 hours a day. I'm not so sure. You know, people everywhere will come home to a note saying, your dinner, tea, lunch and breakfast is in the oven. See, I can act. Jack Straw said that fixed closing time encourages binge drinking. People don't binge because something is closing. You don't see fat people panicking in 7-Eleven at 10:55. Forcing donuts and loaves of bread in their mouths. Oh, eat as much as you can, they're closing! You know, I've often thought, as I watch people having to leave the pub at 11 o'clock, poor things, what they need is another 8 hours drinking. It's just frustration at the licensing laws that forces them to turn over the kebab van and push a tramp into the canal. Notice they say 24-hour opening, and what we hear is 24-hour drinking. Yeah? Maybe it'll be the turning point for Great Britain, and we'll all live happily ever after in a state of beer-induced affection. Be 9 o'clock in the morning. Shh! Come here. Come here. I need to tell you something. Come here. Shh. You all right, you are? You are all right. Thank you, Doctor. It's very reassuring. Yeah, longer opening hours. That's what we need. Give us more time to enjoy traditional English pub food, like Thai curry, crispy duck pizza, lasagna that's cold in the center but comes in a dish that's so hot the pub dog comes over and lies next to it. Licensing laws are useful because they don't stop us drinking, but they do remind us that one level of drunkenness is about to be replaced by another. Level one is the pub. You've had a pleasant evening, but it comes to an end when you find yourself in a heated argument about which member of the band was injured in the Bucks Fizz coach crash. Time is called. The law is reminding you you can go home now or progress to level two, the club. The club is an upmarket establishment, sort of place where they warm the metal detector before frisking you. The door policy is, it would be nice if the lavatory had one. For some reason you find yourself drinking hooch. You've returned to the Bucks Fizz argument. The barman joins in and settles it because he was in Bucks Fizz. Suddenly, it's 2 o'clock. The club has to close. The law is giving you another chance to stop. However, level 3 is beckoning. Anyway, why stop now, just when things are going well? Because someone knows a kebab shop where you can buy fire-damaged cans of Heineken for only £8. Sounds great, let's go! After 30 minutes of wandering around, you realize the person who knows where the kebab shop is no longer with you. Strangely, the person who is with you is the barman who reckons he was in Bucks Fizz. Better still, he has a bottle of Dubonnet. It still has the optic on it. Level 3 is about to end. You can leave now. Welcome to level 5. There was a level 4, but you can't remember it. All you know is you now only have one shoe and a 2-foot pepper mill. You're in someone's mate's kitchen drinking his version of Bloody Marys made of tomato ketchup, a stock cube, and a large shot of Benylin. Last thing you remember before you pass out is seeing Jack Straw talking to the bloke who claims he was in Bucks Fizz. Saying, 24-hour opening now, that's a great idea.
Well, folks, and frankly, there's very little point in me busting my pixels if some crappy little video recorder is a great example of what the modern world has given us.
Everyone rounds on poor Martha Lane Fox. What's she ever done? I suppose that's the problem, really, isn't it? What has she done? Oh, and so much fuss about the internet. It's so overrated. I mean, for some people, it's essential. People who want to know David Soul's collar size, where to buy bees, put in a bid for Celine Dion's nasal hair. Yeah, the only really useful thing the internet has ever done is jail Gary Glitter. Internet users have glamorous terms to make themselves sound more exciting. Ethernet, cyberspace, megabyte, surfing. You're not in space. You're not surfing. Face it, you're in your bedroom typing. The only reason you like the internet is because you can access it with one hand. I'm not a Luddite. I know how to use a computer. I just object when computers try to use me. Press enter to continue. You do it. You're clever enough to put the message up. You do it. Yeah? Computers are so full of themselves. You switch it on, it goes, ta-da! It's done nothing. Other machines are far cleverer. They don't boast. Kidney dialysis machine saves lives every day. It doesn't feel the need to go da, 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 da. Computers never accept responsibility. You switch it on and it goes, you did not shut down your computer properly last time. Yeah, and the reason I didn't shut down properly is that you crashed. And the only way I could get you to work again was to unplug you at the wall and pull your battery out. Anyway, I know you're feeling guilty because you didn't go, dinner. And then when you try to shut it down, all of a sudden it's Chris Tarrant. Are you sure? Do you want to think about it again? I think computers should have a button that just say, bloody yes! Less trouble switching off my granny. You know what I hate? The spell check is what I hate. Yeah. It's like having a smart ass hovering over your shoulder. And that little wriggly red line it puts. What? What's that for? Nothing. Just thought perhaps you'd like to take another look at the way you spell. Yeah. Trouble with technology is I am a sucker for it. I bought an electronic organizer, and it really is incredible how it helps you plan your week. Monday, spend day telling colleagues about how indispensable new organizer is. Tuesday, spend day inputting all personal and work information. Wednesday, throw away embarrassingly dated filofax. Welcome to the 21st century. Thursday, lose electronic organizer. Friday, spend day wiping sweet and sour sauce and potato peelings off lovely old file effects. The computers make silly noises. What went wrong? Huh? All the computers and gadgets in sci-fi made cool noises. The communicator in Star Trek. It's cool. It never once went diddly dee diddly dee diddly dee. The electronic tills in supermarkets just drive me nuts. You know, can't we at least get some variety in that? The barcode says what the product is. Why can't the noise? You put eggs in, it goes... Milk. Smoked salmon. There's always one thing that won't go through properly, you know. Toilet paper. Eventually you go... Ah, Pokemon. You know, believe it or not, this little fellow has caused a worldwide outcry. Endless news articles have been written about their so-called harmful effects. Although, in fact, the Vatican has given its approval to the game. This is true. Apparently, the Pope thinks that Pokemon is morally improving. He's also very keen to swap a Geodude for a Jigglypuff. You know, a lot of the fuss over Pokemon is because it's Japanese. I don't mind that. I'm for building bridges. Preferably not with a gun in my back, I know, but... Why all the fuss about a card game? Just forget it. It's a fad. It'll pass. You know, when I was a kid, for a month and a half, I wanted to be a horse, but I got over it. Who starts these outcries? This time last year, it was Teletubbies that was the big enemy. Hours of debate given to whether or not Teletubbies was educational. My answer is, it really depends how old you are. I'm 38, so I felt it wasn't stretching me. They're temporary fads. Clackers, pogo sticks, space operas, they all go away, even if the injury they gave you doesn't. At least Pokemon isn't dangerous, it's just a fluffy toy. We had clackers. Two balls of galvanized steel that you swing round on a nylon cord. That was a fun toy, wasn't it? It's now been banned, except in Chile where they use it for crowd control. I'm always amazed that parents buy chemistry sets for their children. A cardboard box with everything you need to have an entire episode of 999 dedicated to you. The boy on the box is making a clock powered by a potato. The boy in his bedroom is making mustard gas that will result in the evacuation of Hounslow. But Pokemon, no. Yeah, I'll not have Jimmy playing with soft toys. I'm going to buy him a junior welding kit. He's almost 8. It's high time he had an oxyacetylene torch in his bedroom. Ah, thanks, Dad. Yeah, Pokemon couldn't be dangerous if it tried, and children can find danger. They have a nose for it. A stamp collecting kit in the wrong hands can be lethal. Give a boy a magnifying glass on a sunny day. Bye-bye, ant. Bye-bye, 13 acres of new forest. Even now, as a grown man, if I find a magnifying glass, I still have to do it. When are parents going to learn? If you want to get your kids off Pokemon, tell them you think it's the best thing you've ever seen. Tell them it's educational and good, clean, harmless fun. They hate words like that. Pick them up from their friend's house dressed up as Pikachu, huh? They'll drop it like a brick. I've tried in this series to cover a wide range of subjects, from crime to education, from political violence to the NHS, but there's been one subject that I was advised not to approach. We've all seen the images on TV, and now my conscience dictates that I must break my silence about this travesty that's permeated our lives. Pyramid-shaped tea bags. Somebody somewhere decided that tea bags were not good enough the way they were and therefore committed millions of pounds to the research and development of a new type. 1 in 3 of us is going to die of cancer, but let's not worry about that. Let's sort out this tea bag-shaped nightmare first, shall we? Don't get me wrong, you know, I'm all for change when there's a point to it, like when oil of Yule was changed to oil of Ole. It had to happen. We all knew that. No point running away from it. We faced up to it. We made that change, and everyone has benefited. But what was wrong with having square tea bags? New designs are all about encouraging sales, so we abandoned the old model and purchased the new. That strategy works fine for computers and hi-fi, because if you're not pushed along, you'd never bother buying a new one. But it just wasn't necessary with tea bags. We run out of them. We're going to keep buying them. What's your panic? What was it? Some executive having a nervous breakdown going, well, what if they all start buying jelly instead of tea? I know, we'll change the shape of the bags. Yeah, that's it. No one gets one on me. Jelly. And the annoying thing is, it worked. We went and bought them. I bought them. I took them off the shelf, and instead of thinking, oh, what a cynical marketing scam, I thought, hey, these are good. The question is, has it changed tea? Well, about as much as it changes a piece of toast if you cut it in half. They even tell you on the box, and I quote, tea bags may lose their shape in packaging and transit. This does not affect their taste in any way. I bet they had a laugh compiling that little message. Yeah. How can we say without them noticing, you gullible twat? It's like round tea bags, which were introduced because it was thought they'd fit better into the cup. Does anyone seriously remember having a problem getting a square tea bag into their cup? Because if you do, I suggest that A, it wasn't really a cup but some other household object, like a fork. Or B, it wasn't really a tea bag but some other household object, like a sofa. You know, there's a bigger issue underlying this, and that's the belief that pointless change will be good for business. Midland Bank. Good, solid name, Midlands, in the middle, solid, reliable. You know where you are. Let's replace that name with a random jumble of letters that no one will get right. Who do you bank with? HBC, no, SBH, no, you know, the one that used to be Midlands. HSBC, that's not a name, that's the second line of an optician's eye chart. I bet if you stood outside a branch going, HSBC, someone would come along and go, better with or without? You don't get Barclays doing that. They're proud of their name. They have it displayed all over both their branches. Businesses don't ever really know their customers. Supermarkets move everything around. We don't want that. If I swap the cutlery drawers at home, it takes me 2 years to get used to not opening the wrong drawer for a teaspoon. You know, how am I going to cope with 48,000 different products being spontaneously rearranged at the whim of the new area manager? And they put up a sign, we hope you approve of our exciting new changes. It's not exciting, it's a pain in the arse. And stop putting the Marmite with the stock cubes. Is it too much to ask that you just put all the stuff you spread on toast together? In the same aisle would help. You know, if you're really confused, just make a separate shelf just for Marmite with a big sign saying, well, we don't know what this is, but if you want some, here it is. And another thing, don't try and sell televisions amongst the biscuits and cereal. You're fooling nobody. Who's going to have a shopping list like that? Potatoes, butter, 24-inch Panasonic with remote control. I use high street electronics shops for that kind of thing. Excuse me, is this a radio or a washing machine? Sorry, it's my first day. Which brings me to my next point. Why do tea manufacturers represent us in their adverts as chimpanzees? I'm no chimp. According to them, we're like monkeys who spend their day drinking tea and swinging in old tractor tires, masturbating. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Advertiser, I don't even drink tea.
You know, myself, Mrs. Cake, and the little cakes, Ginger and Jerry, are very proud to be British. Land of hope and glory, mother of the free. Dum-dum-dum-da-dum-dum. Dum-dum-dum. Jack D's.
Well, today is St. George's Day. Hurrah! And Englishness will have been celebrated the length and breadth of Essex. No, you say to any Englishman, it's St. George's Day, and you'll almost certainly be greeted with the traditional retort, is it? There's a day of national celebration. It's St. George's Day is right up there with Pancake Day and crafts. I'm one of the few people to take St. George seriously. He killed a dragon. And in my book, that makes him hard. Because there are no dragons, but nobody dared say so. Or perhaps being English, we were just too polite to challenge him on the point. Yeah. There's no such thing as dragons. Don't make a fuss, dear. He clearly thinks there are. Oh, George, all right. Killed any dragons today? It's an urban myth. He probably just shot a donkey and dressed it up a bit. It's an urban myth is all it is. We're lucky we didn't end up with a hitchhiking granny with large hairy hands. This is one of England's national characteristics. We don't like to make a fuss. For instance, I'm amazed that the English ever dial 999. We just don't like drawing that level of attention to ourselves. Hello. Yeah, sorry to bother you. Thing is, I appear to be trapped under my lathe, and well, it's only a small thing. But the fact of the matter is, I'm dying, and if one of your ambulance chaps was passing by, no, but please, no sirens or anything. Here's our first rule: don't make a fuss. Do you realise? No Englishman has ever had the haircut that he wanted. I don't know why barbers hold that mirror behind the head. It may as well be a wooden tray. You're still sitting there going, yeah, thank you, that's fine. That's a good haircut, I must go. We are a proud people. We are proud. Trouble is, we're proud of the wrong things. We're proud of our milk bottles. England is the only country in the world that's proud of its cliffs. You could take an Englishman to the Grand Canyon, and he'd say, well, it's deep, I grant you, but hardly white, is it? I think Jean and I will stay on the coach. Thank you all the same. Proud of our mustard. Why? Because unlike the mamby-pamby continental products that bring out the delicate flavours of food, English mustard gives you a nosebleed. Yeah. You know where it all started to go wrong? When they changed our passports. Yeah. That and the closing down of Cravat Rack at London Airport. See, the old passport said so much about the English. Stiff, unflappable. Leather bound with the gold embossed words, out of my way, Johnny Foreigner. You didn't show your passport at border controls. You'd use it to slap officials aside. Reason for visit? Imperialism. And what did they replace our beloved passport with? A limp-wristed, purse-coloured, crumpled Euro bus pass, which you're expected to keep folded up in your bum bag. But all that aside, I say let's be positive today on St. George's Day. Let's go out and celebrate the very best of Englishness. Let's go and have a curry. I've had a few complaints about last week's show in which I claimed that the NHS is clogged up by stupid people demanding treatment for easily avoidable accidents. Well, this week I have proof in the shape of the latest government accident statistics. Did you know that in the period covered, there were 79 people who went to hospital having had accidents caused by napkins? Try ringing in sick with that. I won't be in for the rest of the week, I'm afraid. I hurt myself on a napkin. Oh, bad luck. You know, there are 158 swing bin injuries. I can believe one freak swing bin-based incident, but 158? It's a swing bin. Once you understand that it swings, you're in the comfort zone. You're on the home run. Anyone here wearing underwear? Well, be careful, is all I'll say. But don't take it from me. Take it from all the people in this report who have had underwear accidents, right? Now, I'm not talking about incontinence. That's just my bad luck. We're talking about serious injuries. What happened to you? Oh, underpants, you know. Got one leg in and lost it. Yeah, I woke up in this hospital bed. Worst thing is, doctor says I might never wear pants again. What are these accidents? 189 accidents involving cruet sets? That's salt and pepper. No jokes. I'm just going to quote straight from the hospital log now. Right? Went to get pie out of cupboard. Pepper pot fell onto floor, bent down to pick it up. As stood up, hit head on cupboard door. 188 to go. Making extra holes in salt cellar with nail. Nail slipped and punctured finger. At friend's home, friend spilt salt, threw some over shoulder, patient copied, got salt in eye. It's going to get to a point where salt and pepper sets will have to come with safety advice. Yet everything else does. I bought a ladder which had a 25-point safety operating guide with it. Number 1 was, do not operate ladder if you tire easily. That was more or less why I bought it. Yeah. Scaling brick walls with my suction pads was just getting so exhausting. Do not operate ladder if you are using drugs or alcohol. Which was disappointing because, well, there's nothing I like more than having a skinful and getting on with a bit of joy climbing. There's even a 24-hour helpline for problems with your ladder. What a job, sitting there at 3 in the morning, taking calls about ladders. My friend was at the ladder just now, and he dropped a salt pot on my head. Those of you who like glamour and excitement will no doubt be aware that this week the Business Design Centre staged the Total Sandwich Show. As a nation, we take our sandwiches very seriously. You can even go to the supermarket and buy a sandwich loaf. I resent that. I'm buying it. I'll do what I want with it. It's like family car. I'll decide who goes in it. Women's underwear. Says who? Maybe now is the time to pause a while and remember the inventor of our national snack. Now, how lucky we are to have such an inventive aristocracy. The Earl of Sandwich and his famous recipe, the Earl of Cardigan and his comfy knitwear, not to mention Prince Charles and his smashing range of organic biscuits. You know, when the Earl of Sandwich died, he was buried in the first ever Tupperware coffin. According to his wishes, he was buried with a banana and a hard-boiled egg. He didn't have flowers, he had garnish. Just a bit of lettuce and a few crisps. It's not true, it's cremated. But toasted. Hey, toasted sandwich makers must be the most unused thing in the kitchen. Yeah. I should have been suspicious when I bought mine. The instructions read, remove all packaging, eat nothing but toasted sandwiches for a month, then store at back of cupboard behind waffle maker. Do not use again until you need the plug. The insides of a toasted sandwich is one of the hottest substances known to man. That along with a tumble-dried 50p and the plastic seats on a Spanish rental car. Toasted sandwiches are so hot you can't eat one without turning into Chris Eubank. I just eat enough. One rather sad development in sandwich world hails from Denmark. It's called the open sandwich. One piece of bread with the filling laid on top that you have to eat with a knife and fork. That is so wrong, Denmark. Just because your Danish pastries are a single-layer snack sensation doesn't mean you can come over here and screw up our national dish. Yeah, I bet the Danes make lousy lasagna. What's this? It's open pasta. An open sandwich is not a sandwich. It's a job half done, work in progress, left uncovered by some lazy lager-soaked Viking. No, I'm sorry, that's a crude racial stereotype. What probably happened is they were halfway through making a proper sandwich and stopped to watch some hardcore porn in the sauna. I feel sorry for the man who invented triple deckers. No one remembers his name. Well, unless I've got it wrong and his name was Triple Decker. Hi, Trip, what's happening? Nothing. Still working on that sandwich variation idea I had. Leave it, Trip. Come down the club. Club. So we should defend the sandwich and all our regional food specialities. Cornish pasties, Yorkshire pudding, Scottish E. coli. And now the warm weather's here. This is food poisoning season. You think nature can be cruel? Try a buffet on a hot day. Yeah, traditional wedding day games, vol au vent roulette. One of these puff pastry specials is a killer. What'll it be, the rancid chicken or the marquee warmed crab? See, caterers seem like nice people, all right, but they kill more old people than Harold Shipman working through a cold snap. We've lost the plot with sandwiches. They're not supposed to be clever or exotic. I hate fancy bread. Walnut bread. That's not bread, it's cake. And you're a sloppy baker. Admit it. It's not olive loaf. It's a loaf you found some unknown green bits in. And the fillings now are stupid. You get hummus in sandwiches. Hummus is a liquid. Bread isn't waterproof. You have sandwiches that fall apart when you bite them. See, your mouth compresses the two slices of bread and the filling will always choose the course of least resistance. Surely mankind can overcome this hurdle. Can't we come up with a sandwich that won't foul your trousers? What we need is a sandwich with just sort of one piece of bread with the filling laid on top that you could eat with a knife and fork.
Well, folks, how time flies, as the actress said to the pilot of the flying clock. Just time for this last lot from the Glummeister himself, the Diva of Depression, Captain Curmudgeon, the Prince of Pissed Offness. Okay, fine. Just wanted to go out on a big one. See you soon, folks. Maybe. Here's Jack. Taught him all he knows, you know.
Seems that the first half of this year will be remembered, among other things, for the alarming return of hostage-taking. The Philippines, Fiji, even here in Britain, the Stansted hijack saw 150 passengers kept hostage for 4 days with guns to their heads. And you know what they said when they were released? We were treated well. Yeah. Nice people. You know, BA complaints are up 30%, so technically their level of service is worse than being hijacked. Passengers should start yelling as soon as they board. I want £1 million and a bus and a sex change operation. Why do hijackers always demand a bus to leave the plane on? Why not hijack a bus in the first place if that's what you wanted? It's cheaper. Besides, bus drivers are used to being knocked around. The trouble is that bus passengers are immune to the threat of violence. You could stand up on a bus with a gun and shout, "Free our brothers!" and all the passengers would just, "Oh, sit down." What I always wanted to know about that episode was what sort of terrorist hijacks a plane and asks to be taken to Stansted? The hijackers land at Stansted and demand the release of a political prisoner in a closed society thousands of miles away, as if someone at Stansted Airport can arrange that. What were they hoping? The manager of Sock Shop would put in a call. Yeah, let him go, I tell you. Yeah. Who am I? The night manager of Sock Shop. Now let him go. Yeah, I can send you a catalogue. Flying out of Stansted is always like the catch when you book a cheap holiday. 3 weeks safari in Kenya for £9.50. How? Flights depart from Stansted, 5 a.m. Sorry, no, I'll sleep in a tent with wild animals prowling around outside, but I am not dragging a suitcase through King's Cross at 4 in the morning. Hostage negotiators fascinate me. They must be fairly hard to deal with, though. There's a hijack. Can you come straight away? No, I'll be there in 2 days. But it's an emergency. Can't you just come now? Not for that money, I can't. But it's a hijack. People's lives are at risk. Let's just calm down. You want me there or not? I always refer to these people as trained negotiators, like there are untrained negotiators who sometimes get called in. Okay, so far I've said they can have $5 million in cash, an armoured Chinook helicopter, and the Libyans get Ipswich. And in return, they've agreed not to put paper towels down the toilet. So I think I'm winning. Yeah, if I was a negotiator, I'd be tempted to slip in a few of my own demands. Who's going to know? Okay, this is a situation. They want freedom for the religious leader, complete amnesty and safe passage, and for some reason, they want my mortgage paid. Well, I know it's crazy, but we're not dealing with rational people here. Hijackers usually let women and children off, and also men with ailments. I wonder how sick you had to be let off. I'd be tempted to try it on a bit. Because there'd be people going, I'm diabetic, I need insulin. Okay, you can go. My kidneys, I must have dialysis. Okay, excuse me, my throat, I left my strepsils. Can I? Yeah. My hijack hero was a hostage who got a slapping for doing impressions of the hijackers. This is a true story. He waited for the terrorists to go behind the first class curtain, and then he went, "Hey, who's this, everyone?" "I kill you, I kill you." At first, it was getting laughs. Then suddenly, no laughs at all. Just one or two passengers going. I'm a comedian, but I know when to shut my mouth. It's fun to mimic your friends or your boss, because if they catch you doing it, they don't pistol whip you to the floor. But to be fair, Stansted wasn't the hijacker's first choice. That isn't for anyone, is it? It's just that Stansted is London's designated airport for hijacked planes, mainly because it's hundreds of miles away from London. I remember hearing on the news they have special facilities for hijackers at Stansted. Oh, what does that mean? They have a Hezbollah lounge? Anyway, as we know, the hostages were eventually allowed off the plane, coached to temporary accommodation, where they were detained with only basic food and amenities before being flown home 2 weeks later. Might as well have booked a package holiday. Thank you. Well, yeah. Summertime is here, unless you've been shopping for summer clothes, in which case you'll know that the fashion industry considers this to be the dead of winter. Swimming trunks? I don't think so, sir. We won't be having those in until Christmas. Perhaps, sir, would like to try on one of our new corduroy trench coats. When I try clothes on in a shop and they don't fit, I don't just give them back and ask for a bigger size. I vent my anger on them. Why shouldn't I? They wronged me. They humiliated me. I'm alone with them in this cubicle. I'll show them who's boss. How will they, sir? Well, they're fine around the waist, if that's what you're thinking. They're a bit scrunched up and footprinty. I think I'll leave it. A shopping psychologist this week stated that men going shopping experience the same level of stress as fighter pilots going into aerial combat. Really? Well, so me buying trousers puts me through similar stress to flying low-level nighttime missions over Kosovo. Makes me feel rather good about shopping. Just off the Gap. It's a mucky business, but someone has to do it. Isn't this shopping psychologist missing the point that fighter pilots are chosen because they don't get stressed? I mean, they tend to weed out the ones that go, oh, what all these switches do? The fashion world is full of crap, isn't it? On Friday, the Daily Telegraph announced the triumphant return of legs. Hey, legs are back. Oh, I've really missed you. Fashion designer Alexander McQueen has returned from his stay in New York, so there's great excitement and celebration in New York. McQueen's latest collection is apparently influenced by ballet. Well, I can see that. It's pointless, and a lot of people pretend they like it. McQueen is a rebel in the fashion industry because it's said that when working in Savile Row, he used to sew swear words into the lining of his clients' coats. Ooh, scary. It rather redefines the term rebel, doesn't it? I used to think that standing in front of an advancing tank was being a rebel. Now it would seem that hiding some slightly rude cross-stitching in some old bloke's blazer puts you right up there with Che Guevara and Toya. You know. The fashion industry loved to glamorize itself. Oh, he's the enfant terrible. What, of sewing? He's the bad boy of haute couture. No, he's not. He makes dresses. There's only one bad boy of haute couture, and that's the bloke who shot Versace. What about a pair of designer trousers with a cheese grater hanging from them? Not just any cheese grater, mind. The guy had tantrums getting it right. No, no, no! What is this you bring me is the wrong kind of cheese grater, or he's not thought-provoking enough. Oh, forget it. Forget the whole show. You make a laughing stock of me. Bring me my cling film coat. I don't know about you, but I don't want thought-provoking trousers. Comfortable, yes, but thought-provoking. Why would I want to walk into a room and have everyone go, The fashion industry has its own terminology, its own language to describe its work, so you can't argue with it. Other trades don't do that. You don't get builders giving excuses like that. Excuse me, half my roof is missing. Yeah, it's ironic. You've bricked up my front door. Back is the new front. Of course, every few years, fashion designers make an attempt to introduce the male skirt. No. Give me a pair of thought-provoking trousers anytime. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm in touch with my feminine side. I'm sensitive, and I can't read maps. You know. But I don't want to wear women's clothes. Although, having said that, I am coming round to the idea of clean underpants every day. Well, as a move to relax laws on TV advertising, we may soon see adverts for hypnotists, escort agencies, porno mags, and hair loss clinics. Now all they need to do is find out exactly when driving instructors are watching. And you're probably asking, what right do I have to criticize advertisements when I've appeared in one myself? Well, there's a very good reason. I am a hypocrite. You hold this glass of beer and say it's nice for £1 million? Yes. This whole thing isn't going to work. The thing about advertising is it has to be truthful. You can't advertise a hair loss clinic saying you'll have lots of hair, because you won't. The truth is, you'll look like you've had some dead bloke's hair nail gun to your head. Restore your confidence. What's having hair got to do with confidence? Okay, I don't really know, because I have a full head of hair, and, you know, if my hair fell out, I'd look ridiculous like all bald people do. Adverts we already have aren't truthful. Why add to our troubles? Tampon ads claim you can still do anything, even if it's that time of month. What it should say is, you can still do anything except get on with the rest of the human race. Hypnotism isn't safe, so why will they be allowed to advertise that? You go to a hypnotist to stop smoking, and it does work, but there are side effects. For instance, you think you're Napoleon. No thanks, I don't smoke. Never before a battle. You know, religions will have adverts. This is a bad idea. Religion never looks good on television. It's either happy, shiny people singing songs, or the FBI storming some compound. People don't turn to religion because they see it on television. God sacrificed his only begotten Son to save mankind. If that didn't get the message across, a 20-second jingle in the middle of police camera action isn't going to help. The religious belief is very personal. You shouldn't treat it like a product. I can't believe it's not Buddha. We're going to see adverts for escort agencies and porn mags. Come a long way from the days of Mr. Kipling, haven't we? I dread to see what Mrs. Kipling does exceedingly well. And all of this is so we come into line with the rest of Europe. Well, if we want to do that, why don't we eat horses and have lavatories you can't put toilet paper down, and throw donkeys off bell towers? It is a festival. Escort agencies advertising. It'll be a sad day when escort girls have to prostitute themselves by appearing on TV ads. Now, it's a thinning of the wedge, and it's not their fault. I bet when they became hookers, they had no idea they'd end up working as actresses. Of course, they already have phone line ads on late-night TV. You know, a woman comes on and says, "Phone me. I really, really want to talk to you." Well, then you phone me. Yeah, I'm sitting on the couch in my pants eating cheesy Wotsits. Caught me at a good time. Anyway, who's going to watch an ad for an escort agency and make a note of that number? What are you doing, darling? Oh, just nothing. Of course, like any other commercial, it would have to be completely honest. You can't say gorgeous 19-year-old brunette for sensuous massage. It would have to be the truth. Disinterested 42-year-old smack addict will pull you off while poodle watches. Having said that, I was approached to appear in a male escort advert. Would you hold this and say it's nice for £1 million? Yes. Well, capitalism appears to have survived the riot on Monday. Still, it's a pretty close thing, wasn't it? Before I go on, let's get it in perspective. The vast majority of the people at the demonstration were smelly anarchist troublemakers. Apart from one who was from Eton. Yeah, it was his graffiti caught him out. Capitalism simply is none. Yeah. £14,000 a term his parents were paying. And probably worth it to keep that destructive little bastard out of the house. The trouble with the way the police handle riots is that they actually are quite rude to members of the public who are only trying to help. Because I rang the police the next day and said that I recognised one of the people in the newspaper photo. I said, I'm pretty sure the one in the middle is Winston Churchill. I wouldn't want to repeat the language I heard. Yeah, the rioters gave Churchill a Mohican haircut and stood around saying, doesn't he look stupid? Yes, he does. And that's what you look like. The difference is you went to a barber and paid to have yours done. You know, one rioter was heard to cry, it's a revolution. No, it's not. It's you with an aerosol drawing knobs. I thought your intention was to overthrow the state. At what point did you change your plan to decide to scribble rude words everywhere instead? To be fair, one group of demonstrators had intended to target Barclays, but they couldn't face the 35-mile walk to the nearest branch. So. Let's face it. Let's face it, as an act of revolution, it was pretty lame. Look, the French liberated the Bastille, the Bolsheviks stormed the Tsar's palace. You broke into Ryman's. What were you thinking of? You're within 500 yards of Buckingham Palace and Downing Street, and you smash up a stationer's. Whoa, that'll show 'em. What were you after? Post-it notes. Smash the system. What would anarchists want with a year planner? Monday, undermine fascist state apparatus. Tuesday, strike blow at heart of oppressive police regime. Wednesday, destabilize international capitalism. Thursday, grow up! Mind you, guerrilla gardening, now that scares me. It's pretty chilling what they get up to, isn't it? They come, they go, without you even knowing. 3 months later, boom, crocuses everywhere. Yeah, just mindless acts of random gardening. I hate to think what that could lead to. Guerrilla cooking, who knows? Let this muffin be a warning. Next time it'll be a nut roast. We'll have an MP on the news saying, yes, somehow they got past security and valeted my car. Is there anything these people don't respect? The rioters broke into a burger restaurant. Now, for legal reasons, I can't say which one. All I can say is it was totally McWrecked. They say they targeted the restaurant because it was a symbol of global capitalism. I say it was because it was lunchtime. What about the inspection chart in that lavatory? 2 o'clock, refilled soap dispenser, mopped up some water under urinal. Tick. 2:30, toilets totally destroyed and on fire. Replace toilet paper. You ask me, the best way to deal with anti-capitalists is this. Don't arrest them. Drop £20 notes on them from the helicopter. See if they change their mind about capitalism. Out of my way, Rainbow. Leave it, Dolphin. Because there'd be a few stray vegans who don't have the energy for it. Yeah. We'll just finish them off with a gravy cannon. That's it for me this week. Let's all go home and think about what happened here tonight. Thank you. Good night.
So this is